If you're looking for a crash course to get you started on Archviz and Unreal Engine 5, then this one is for you, habibi. We will learn about organizing mood boards, blocking out our scenes, and the very basics of Unreal Engine 5. Before we get started, make sure to sign up for our Unreal Engine in Archviz VR Division Community Challenge. Diamonds are created under pressure, so don't be shy about giving yourself some competitive energy. Your work can inspire others and the other way around, and you might even win an amazing prize. There will be more info on Discord. Subscribe if you're not already, leave a like, and let's get started. So when it comes to design, I always like to collect my reference first. Here's a pro tip: never start a design without looking at some pictures that inspire you, collecting some pictures and putting all of these pictures in one place. One of my favorite websites to find inspiration is Pinterest, depending on what I am trying to achieve. If I'm trying to design a user interface, I would type here UI designs. If I'm designing a futuristic city, I love Pinterest. For our tutorial today, we're making a nice little apartment, so we can search for something like modern minimal apartment. You would find stuff, and when you hover on any image, you can click save, make a mood board. Pretty self-explanatory. Do not create something out of your head, like just don't do this and then create. It's not practical. You need inspiration, you need pictures to look at while you are creating. I love Pinterest and I love saving pictures. However, my problem with Pinterest when I save so many pictures is that I have so many pictures. And to mitigate this, I use an amazing piece of software called PureRef, and it's free to download. Basically, with this tool, you can collect all your reference images and save them all in one place. So it supports pictures, text, and the click and drop feature from anywhere. I love it because I can do that directly from the web browser. Let's say I like this picture, I can simply click and drag this picture and it will save for me, right? And let's say this picture, click and drag, no problem. This. And where PureRef shines, it's its shortcuts. So for example, Ctrl F to maximize your view. And let's say we collected these pictures, we could spend 5 minutes like just doing this. Let's bring these as well. Or you can select everything and for example hit Ctrl P and it will arrange the pictures for you in the most optimal way. To learn more about the shortcuts, you can press Ctrl H to get the help, or you can right click, then just go between these buttons here. If you don't use PureRef, start using it today. I really can't live without PureRef. So the main reason I use PureRef is to collect just few pictures that will inspire me enough to work on specific project. And these pictures, all of them are from one design. The studio who made these are called Whole Design. Shout out to these guys, amazing design. And I thought I would do something like this in Unreal Engine. I like PureRef because I don't have to open the web browser as well when I'm working, because sometimes you could go and research something and then you spend like 30 minutes scrolling Facebook or Instagram. What I do after I collect my pictures is just battle royale these pictures and few winners would stay here. That's it. You can actually go to Google and copy the image address, then go to images, then you can paste the URL. And Google, as a good guy, will do its best to help you. You can click here all sizes, you can find, hopefully, higher quality images. After I gather my reference, I would like to start somewhere. So before I open 3ds Max or Blender or SketchUp or anything, I have no idea what the floor plans looks like. So I bring my pen, I bring my papers, and I start looking at these pictures here and I start analyzing them. So I start looking at my reference from all the angles and I try to understand what are the floor plans of this apartment. This is a great practice. So I bring these guys here and I start doing, hey, this could be something like this. So here's a sofa, here's a bedroom, here's... Just start doing this, literally, to get you started. Like sketch the floor plans here before you do anything on any other tool. Now, if you're feeling fancy, you can do this. You can go to AutoCAD and draw the plans. Shout out to Zahi, by the way, who made these. The next step is blocking out your scene. So let's go. Here we are in 3ds Max. The modeling I approach it in 3 parts: big, medium, small. I ask myself a question: hey, what is the biggest element of my project to start 3D modeling? Usually it's the floors, ceilings, walls. Floors, you can just simply click and drag a box. Let's just make a new layer for that. And that's your floor. Let's give it a thickness of 20. After you make the floors, you can ask yourself a question: hey, what is the next big element of my project? Well, usually that's the walls. To make our life easier, let's just hide the floor. And there are so many ways you can make the walls, it's really up to you. In 3ds Max, I like to enable the snapping options on the vertices, so vertex and midpoint, and then I just start snapping boxes next to each other. So let's set a height of 280 and then click another box, like so. I approach my projects like this. So here's the architecture. For example, I already finished the 3D modeling of this apartment. The download link for this apartment is in the description below. You can find the Unreal Engine project. To track back what I did here, after the floors we have the walls, and they also include the closets. After that there is the kitchen, and the kitchen usually is just a bunch of boxes, very simple stuff, and the same for the other elements of the project, like the skirt boards all around the house, then the table, and if you look at the reference, something similar to this. After that there is the spotlights, and then the doors and the windows. So now, why don't we export this to Unreal Engine 5? To export anything to Unreal Engine, you need to download Datasmith exporter. Datasmith is magic, 100%. Before Datasmith, we used to spend days just exporting projects, depending on their scale, of course. It used to take so much time sending projects and assets and files between your digital content creation tools and Unreal Engine. And if you're trying to work with someone who uses another tool, oh, that was painful. So Datasmith solves all this. As you can see here, these pictures explain it all. From 3ds Max, Cinema 4D, Revit, SketchUp, basically all these tools and more to Unreal Engine. Easy peasy. Check out the link in the description, or go to unrealengine.com, or just Google Datasmith, go to this page, then go to get the plugins, then install the plugin for the tool you use. In our case, it's 3ds Max. And don't worry yet if you don't see Unreal Engine 5 here, that's completely okay because it's gonna work anyway. After you download Datasmith and install it, open your project again, then go to File, Export, Export again. That's why I like shortcuts. Find a place to export your project to. Usually in my working drive, I have a folder called dt_temp, so Datasmith temp. I can just clean this every now and then. And then let's make a new folder, call it architecture or whatever layer you have, because this name is important. Unreal Engine is going to create a folder with this name. Click Save. You will get Datasmith export options, and here it says, hey, include what? Visible objects or only selection? In our case, visible objects. And if you have any animation, you can export that as the active time segment. Click OK. Once exports is finished, we're going to do what I always love to do, is ignoring all these error messages, because I'm gonna fix all of them in Unreal Engine. Now, there is something to keep in mind. Even though it's totally possible to export everything at once, like this, the house with the furniture, I don't do that, because let's say you exported the complete project as one Datasmith export, and then the customer or someone had to do a modification on something. Then are you going to export everything again? Especially when it comes to large projects. Try to export, I don't know what is the word for this. In this case, I'm gonna export the furniture separately as well for later. Based on the scale and the size of your project, the export could take from few seconds to few minutes. And here we are with another more error messages. I'm going to do my favorite thing to do, which is ignoring all of them. Alright, let's go to Unreal Engine. If you have Unreal Engine, check out the timestamps in the timeline. If you don't, let's go download Unreal Engine. I'm not gonna download it, but I'm gonna show you how. So just Google it, Unreal Engine, then make an account at Epic Games, then click download, and this will download Epic Games Launcher, where you get free games and free Unreal Engine. Once you download Epic Games Launcher and sign in, you will be welcomed to the weekly news. Here you can see stuff like what is free for the month or what's up. For example, Unreal Engine 5 is released. That kind of stuff. Learn tab, it's a collection of projects that you can download for free. To download Unreal Engine 5, now it's in early access, just click here where it says UE5, then click on download early access. Then here you will have something called install. You can set a drive. If you don't have so much space, you can go to options and you can disable some of the target platforms that perhaps you don't want to develop for. Then just click apply and uninstall. Once you finish downloading the engine, click on launch and this will open Unreal Project browser for you. Then you will have templates for games, then film, video and live events. In your case, you may need to choose the blank template from the architecture, construction and engineering and make a project. Additionally, there is automotive, product design and manufacturing. You can also choose a template here if you're doing a product configurator or something. So what I would recommend doing is actually going through these templates and just learn more about Unreal Engine and what it has to offer. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to select games blank. Once you do that, set a project location and then give your project a name. Go get some water or something because it's gonna take a couple of minutes before it opens. Hopefully less than that. Once the engine opens, I'm gonna show you how to use it. Hey, quick pause. Sorry I interrupted the music to tell you about our Unreal Engine Masterclass, but this is the only way we can make more YouTube videos. If learning Unreal Engine architecture is something interests you, check out the link in the description. And I'm gonna put the music again, take a deep breath, and let's continue the lesson. Alright, so welcome to Unreal Editor. The first biggest thing you see here is our 2D viewport, and you can think of this as a window to the worlds we are creating inside Unreal Engine. If you right click, you can look around, and then while you're right clicking, you can press ASDW to move around. You can press Q to go down or E to go up. So that's the basic navigations, and this will feel natural if you play Apex Legends or any game actually. And yeah, if you hold Alt and then left mouse button, you can orbit around the center of screen, and if you keep holding Alt then right mouse button, you can zoom in and out. Here on the right we have the word outliner, and you can see these icons. Everything in this 3D viewport is listed here in the word outliner, and the details panel is details panel. So when you click on an actor, you can access the details of that actor, whether it's the transform information, so you can rotate it like crazy, wow, scale, what type of static mesh is this, what material it has, and so on. Here on the top corner of our 3D viewport, you have a burger menu where there are some useful shortcuts like G to toggle the game mode, and this is what the players are going to see when you export your project, and this is you as a developer is what you see, these nice icons. I like the new design of Unreal Engine 5. The UI is so beautiful. F11 for immersive mode, and perspective you can switch to other orthographic views, or you can go back to the perspective. And there are view modes like LED, where is the default view mode, and LED, where we see the world with the light doing nothing to it. So if you delete all lights, nothing is going to change. Wireframe and so on. All these good stuff. What I recommend doing as well is just clicking around and exploring what the engine have to offer, and this is the best way to learn, by trial and error, exploring. These three guys here, so now what's this? 10, so this is the snap value on the grid, so now it's snapping the location of my light on the X 10 increments. So this is amazing for modular design later. So this is 500 units, which is 5 meters. In Unreal Engine, every 1 unit equals 1 centimeter. So for example, this floor, if you hold Alt, you can make a copy of it. It's so much easier to snap it, unless like if we turn it to 1, and then it's gonna be kinda hard to snap this stuff together. So let's delete everything and let's go back to the topic. And the same here, this is snapping for rotations. So let's just bring this back to the old value. And you can turn it off by clicking here. So when it's blue, it is activated. When it's gray, it's not. The rotation snapping. So now it rotates stuff by 10 degrees. You can change that and you can disable it. And here is for the scale. So scale, whoop, right? We have like true numbers here. If you turn off the scale, you can have more control. Here on the tab, we used to have a very large toolbar. Again, I love this minimal design. And here on the left, we used to have a panel we could create stuff. Now all of that is just here. So create, we can now create lights, shapes, cameras, visual effects, volumetric cloud, exponential height fog. So if you're wondering where is our stuff that used to be here on the left, now it's here in the create menu. And the content browser, so you can basically click here, click on it to get your content browser, and if you click somewhere else, it disappears. I love this because we have more space to work with. There is no need for the content browser anymore. I'm glad you asked. The shortcut for it is Control Space. So Control Space to toggle it, Control Space to hide it again. Or you can click here, Content Drawer. If you want to dock this guy, just click here and it docks. And you can have another one. I love the new UI, you go away. You can middle mouse button to make that content browser go away. Quixel Bridge is now integrated within Unreal Engine 5. You can open the marketplace from here, you can open the blueprints from here, cinematics from here, and so on. We are now in the select edit mode, which the shortcut for this is Shift 1, and this is the most used mode ever while you're working with your Unreal Engine projects. And here is the terrains modes, so the landscapes, when you want to create a landscape like this, create and like make a landscape. We will get into that in the future tutorials, foliage and so on. Again, just feel free to explore stuff. And if you have any questions, if you want me to cover anything, just leave me a comment and I will. Now, if you started your Unreal Engine project using the AEC template, you can click on Content and you will find Datasmith somewhere here. Go to Edit, Plugins, and search here for Datasmith. So if you're using Cinema 4D, you can enable this and you can import native Cinema 4D files directly to Unreal Engine, which is totally amazing. The same for CAD files and so on, FPX, JLTF, and here's our guy, Datasmith importer. So this guy is going to import Datasmith files. Click on Enable, then it will ask us to click yes on something and restart the engine. So let's restart the engine. Here it's saying, hey, do you want to save this map, the one we were at? And like, nah. Alright, now if you click on Content, Import Assets, you can see our Datasmith button here. Before we do anything though, I'm going to press Ctrl Space to get my content browser, right click somewhere, make a new folder, underscore projects. So here, projects, I'm going to call this one class 1, and then I'm going to make a new folder, call it DT or Datasmith. That's where I'm going to save my Datasmith export. And then another folder for the level we're going to create, call it maps or levels. Double click this guy, then right click and let's go to create basic asset and make a level. So the level, you can think of it as a container that will contain all of our actors, whether lights, meshes, blueprints, anything inside the word outliner basically. So let's go to projects, class, maps, level, and let's call our level main level. If you don't want to create a level by right-clicking and creating a level, you can actually press Ctrl N, and here you can choose a default level like this, an empty level, which is what we made, time of day, which is awesome, day-night cycle if you want that stuff, and VR basic, which is, I think this is new in Unreal Engine 5. keep surprising me. Hey, do you remember when we exported this apartment? It's time to import it. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's open our main level. Let's add some stuff. So let's go to content, Datasmith, and this is the file we exported, architecture. Click open. Then let's set a location first, Datasmith. And what we get next is Datasmith import options. You have the ability to import the geometry, the materials, the lights, the cameras, the animations, basically almost everything. And if you're planning on baking your lights, if for some reason you don't want to use Lumen, you can go here to show advanced, and in the static mesh options, you can set the light map resolution, the minimum and the maximum quality. So this is kinda adaptive. It will look at the meshes of your apartment or whatever export you did. And if there are large pieces like this wall, it will give it 512 or whatever max value you give it here. Usually I just like to set these both to the lowest possible option I have, because when I want to build the light, I just want it to be done as fast as possible. And just keep generate light map UVs enabled. Once you set your light map resolution and whatnot, you can click import. However, there is something in my case, I don't want the materials or the lights or the cameras or the animations. I just want the geometry of my project. So I'm gonna click import. Import is finished, took few seconds. Usually it should be completely black where you can't see anything, especially if you like toggle the game mode. However, to be able to see something, press Alt-3 to switch to the unlit mode, and hey, this is our apartment. Nice. One thing I would like to discuss, look at the mapping here. I forgot to mention this when I exported my project from 3ds Max, but it does not matter what software you're using to 3D model your stuff. It's really a good idea before you export your architectural projects to select all the static meshes and assign UVW box map on the mesh, so you won't have stretched UVs and like weird mapping. So the thing I do in Max, here's my meshes for example. I'm gonna just hide the lights because I do it only on the surfaces that like are large, like this ceiling for example. So basically, you need to select your meshes, let's say the walls, right? All the walls, I want UVW box mapping on them, 100 by 100 by 100. So when I export this to Unreal Engine, my UV mapping looks good. If you count on using Quixel Bridge assets a lot, then it would be a good idea to use 200 by 200 by 200 because many of their materials and textures are 2 meters by 2 meters. So keep that in mind. And the next step, let there be light. To add lights to our project, let's go to create, then to lights, directional light. This is going to add a sun to our project. So if you select and move the sun a little, let's go to the side where we have some windows. W to move your actors, E to rotate, and R to scale. So E to rotate the sun a little bit. I'm going to turn off the snapping for the rotation and I'm going to do this. So we have some light. Now if we enter the apartment, auto exposure is going to kick in. And look at this, the indirect lighting thanks to Lumen. I love Lumen. There is something I really just hate is the auto exposure. So let's go to create, to visual effects, and let's go to add a post-process volume. Alright? For this volume to work across our project, we need to go all the way down to where it says post-process volume settings and then click on infinite extent. And to disable auto exposure, let's scroll up, go to lens, go to exposure, and then go to min and max brightness. So let's do this. Enable these and set them both to the same number. So this is the range between the minimum brightness and maximum brightness. If you want to get rid of that range, just select the min and the max, set them to the same number. If you're using the AEC template, this number here should be min EV 100 and max EV 100. So it won't be min brightness and max brightness. It's just different type of exposure. To control the exposure now, we can go to the exposure compensation and we can play with it from here. So we can make it a higher number for higher exposure or the opposite. Just keep in mind, if you don't turn on infinite extent and bound, then the auto exposure is going to work only inside this box. So here, if you go inside, then auto exposure is disabled, and if we leave, things went back to normal. So enable this to make it global and you should be good to go. In the word outliner, it's a very good practice to keep things organized. So right click, create a folder, call it meshes. Let's move our architecture there, and then right click again and let's make another folder, call it lights. And let's hold Ctrl, select the directional light and the post-process volume and move them to lights. The next thing I would like to add to my project is some sky. And to do that, go to Create, Visual Effects, Sky Atmosphere. It added sky atmosphere for us. I'm going to move this also to lights to keep things organized. Look at this. It's so neat, so good. But where is the sky, Yahiya? What the... Well, select the directional light, the sun, in your project, then scroll all the way down or search for it, the atmosphere sunlight. So if you don't want to scroll all the way down, you can just type here in the search details, sunlight or atmosphere sunlight. And now look at this. When we enable this, boom, we have physically accurate sky. Now the auto exposure is too much, so let me reduce that a little. The exposure compensation, sorry. So it's in the lens, exposure, let's set it to something like 1. And now look at this. I love this. I'm gonna select my sun, press E, and then... wow. If you don't want to move your sun like this, with these actors, you can actually hold Ctrl L and then move your mouse up and down, up or down, so to move the sun in that direction, or left or right, so you can do that. If you wanna move your mouse in all directions, it's gonna be like kinda hard, so I really recommend moving your mouse first up and down first, then left and right. This would just make it easier. When we enable the atmosphere sunlight, look at the color of the sun as well. So I'm gonna press Ctrl L again. It's changing, which is extremely beautiful. So here's like sunset or sunrise, you know, do this. So cool. And because now we're inside an interior, we need to select the post-process volume and raise the exposure compensation again. So let's say 3, right? What I love about Lumen is the indirect lighting we get in real time. The next thing I would like to do is a skylight, because now we have blue in the sky and that's beautiful, but where is it in the project here? It's like, let's add a skylight, let's set it to mobile, and you can activate or reactivate real-time capture. However, in this scenario, it's kind of hard to see what's going on. We can always increase the indirect lighting intensity of the skylight. It's still kind of hard because let's move the sun up a little bit. So I'm gonna press Ctrl L and move the sun up. Select my sky again, and I'm going to press on real-time capture, and you can see now we have that blue tint we spoke about. So this is without skylight, and this is with a skylight. Hey, it's your boy Yahiya. Did you enjoy today's tutorial? I'd love to know what you learned today. And if you're joining the community challenge, there are ways you can help us make more videos. I'd love it if you can leave a like and share this video with someone close to you who might learn something and use it in their work. Imagine that, we both will thank you. The ultimate way you can support us and learn much more about Unreal Engine is by getting our Unreal Engine Architectural Masterclass. I look forward to seeing you in the next part of this course. Take care, stay productive, and I will see you soon. Cheers.